On August 3rd, 2014, Otto was born at Schuylkill Medical Center. He was perfectly healthy. He was a happy baby boy, barely cried. On October 18, 2014, I fell down the steps with Otto. He was still in my arms. I yelled and started crying. So I took him to the hospital on Jackson Street. They did a CT scan and x-rays. They came in the room the first time, said he was perfectly okay. And then the second time, they came in and said, we gotta call children youth on use because you hurt him, as what doctors said. When I looked at Otto's disc they gave us, has their hands underneath his head. Children youth showed up. They told us to go to Hershey because machines can be wrong. We got told to go to Hershey for an intake to stay overnight on the 20th of October, and the next day on October 21st, they told us not to feed him for 5 hours straight. To keep him calm, I stopped feeding him at 9:00 a.m. till 2:00, so they can give him stuff in a bottle. At 3:00 p.m. I started feeding him again. When I went out the room and my dad go to the bathroom, they were like, "Oh, by the way, your son had a flu shot." I looked at my dad like, "No way." They gave it to him without consent from me. I never gave my child a flu shot. They sent us home, and on October 26, 2014, my husband woke up, gave Otto his pacifier at 6:00 a.m. John stayed up with him for about an hour. The baby didn't want no milk or nothing. John changed him and went back to sleep. We got a phone call from Matt Pfeffer from Otto's Amusements, so he can come get the rest of his stuff out of the house I bought from him. We woke up. My husband goes and checks up on Otto, like we always do. I normally take him downstairs when I go downstairs. My husband checked on him. He was blue, pacifier hanging out his mouth. He was limp, had a slight heartbeat. John took him downstairs. Me and my mom did CPR. EMS EMS came within seconds, scooped him up from the floor, ran outside into EMS with him. Cops showed up to do what they always have to do with stuff like this. The EMS brought his heartbeat back 2 minutes before we got to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, there were two ladies waiting for me so I can register Otto. A half-hour life flight showed up to take him to Lehigh Valley Children's Hospital. We got to Lehigh Valley Hospital 2 hours after Otto got there because the cops had to talk to us. His doctor that day was Dr. Wheatley. There were two doctors there in the PICU. that said he's dead. Pull the plug. I flipped and started crying. And on November 5th, 2014, he had a CT scan done. He took a breath a lot that whole week. Dr. Wheatley was talking to us, and the one doctor came in the waiting room after Otto got his CT scan done and said he's dead. I walked out that room and went back in and said, "Don't you ever touch my son again." Dr. Wheatley said, "I'm sorry, but I gotta go with her wishes." He never came in after that. They pulled the plug on him. We wanted an autopsy done. That came back that he was paralyzed from his waist down and he had a blood clot in the back of his neck. For those who want to know, we do have a GoFundMe account. We need help with a lot of stuff going on. We are behind our bills because of everything that happened with Otto. This is one of his pictures from that day before this happened. This is from when he was in the hospital and from that thing that we went to. This is one of them too. We had lots of fun. This is when we got his face painted with the pumpkin. This is his footprints that we got done the day he passed away. This is the grief support. Here's another paper about it. Here's another paper. This is the formula that he always spit up. That's his Tdap vaccine. There's his MMR vaccine. His hepatitis B vaccine. Here's a whole bunch of papers from when he passed. From when the whole time he was in the hospital. Schuylkill Medical Center. It's from Hershey, Pottsville, both Pottsville hospitals, and I believe Lehigh Valley. Never ever have to deal with a thing that I've been going through. I think it's best if you guys never get your baby's vaccine. Any age can die. And Back Truth is doing an article about Otto. If you guys want to know about that. Just please promise me you won't ever get none of your babies vaccinated. Those papers I showed you about the vaccines that my son had, that could possibly harm your child also. I'm sorry this is long. And Hershey, it was one of the hospital, it was Hershey. They gave him an unknown medication without any consent or anything, and they wouldn't let me know. Which I think that was the flu shot that he had. But now, this is a hard time dealing with. I thought I'd get my son cremated because it's to ease my grief. Now I am gonna start making plats for when babies or adults pass away like this, or anything. If you want to get a hold of me, I have a thing on prayers for Otto Geiger. And I'm gonna also start making cribs, homemade. If any of you would like one, just let me know. My name on Facebook is Jess Geiger. Just email me. I won't add you. Just message me and I'll get back to you. I'm sorry a lot of you guys have to deal with this, but I want to give a big thank you out to everyone who supported me and was praying for my son Otto Geiger. This is all. This is all the vaccines my son had that can actually harm your child. So everyone, please read about vaccines before you go ahead and give your child a vaccine because it could possibly harm your child. This is my son when he was first born. And this is his sister, and that's Otto. And then this is my son. There's a thing in here you can open to put stuff in it. But everyone who supported us and was praying for Otto, can you please go on GoFundMe account? There's 2 of them, and please help out because we need it. We need it a lot. We are in debt because of everything going on. I want to say thank you for everything you guys have done for us so far. Please come support us more. Thank you so much.